Hi everyone and welcome. I wanted to look for a radio that was a little bit different and I found this on AliExpress for around about $19. This is the Isolar S-FT10BTS. Basically what this is a 3-band radio with a built-in MP3 player. And first impressions is this is quite a crude sort of looking radio, in my opinion of course. It doesn't look particularly sort of pleasing from the front in terms of its design with a large sort of tuning and volume engraving and rather sort of crude display. It's almost as if it's been designed with a child in mind. However, looks can be deceiving and I'll get to that in a moment. Size wise, we've got a unit that's 160 wide, 100 high and around about sort of 60mm deep. I'll just give the old mugshot test here just for comparison. And if we can also compare that with a typical multi-band radio, this is the Texan R909. It's a good little radio. If you want to pop across my channel, I've done a review on that. But size-wise, you can see that this Isolar is in fact quite a much larger unit. And there's a reason for this. If we tip it over, you'll see we've got a built-in solar cell, and that obviously is dictated to a certain extent the size of the radio itself. And this does mean that we haven't got to worry about finding replacement batteries, which is a really useful thing and unusual to find in a radio of this sort of price point. So just taking through the controls then, basically on the front we've got an analog display for the 3 wave bands. We've got FM coverage from 88 to 108 megahertz. AM or medium wave is from 530 to 1710, and shortwave we cover from 5.6 all the way up to 22 megahertz. So that's one hell of a group of frequencies to cover in one sweep of the tuning control. Be interesting to see what selectivity is like with this. Also on the front we've got reverse, play, pause and forward. This is for the MP3 functions, and they've got volume control with a built-in on-off switch. Going to the side, we have a built-in touch, which is useful with its own on-off switch. We've got a 4-way selector switch, so we're selecting shortwave, AM, FM and MP3 functions. DC 5V input, micro SD connection there, and we've got a standard USB port there as well. And we've also got, unusually, a 4V DC output jack. I have no idea what you could use that for. This may be something that's peculiar to the Chinese market, but I've never ever seen that on a portable radio. It's an interesting feature. Onto the back, we've got a little port there. That just helps the overall sort of base of the speaker. Opening up the battery compartment, what they actually give you, and this is a little charging lead, which is always useful, and they also then give you a carrying strap for the radio, which picks up on those 2 little connection points there. They also give you a 18650 battery. In this case this is a 1200 milliampere battery, but also interestingly the compartment is also built, or designed I should say, to take 2 large D-cell batteries. They're 1.5s, and I've just got a couple here just to show you. Again, plenty of thought on how you're going to power this radio up. So I say looks can be deceiving. Just pop the cover back on. What I'm going to do is just see what it's like on the MP3 function first of all, and then we'll take it through what the radio can actually pick up as well. So let's pop in a little micro SD card. Just going to pop that in there if it'll fit. Make sure we're on selecting onto MP3. Put it on the front.
Music.
And we can also pause that as well. Just turn that off. I'm just going to remove that. Then what I'm going to do, see if we can utilise a USB stick there. Let's put some more music on this. So I'm just going to pop that in again. There we go. Let's turn it on.
Music.
To be honest, the speaker doesn't sound too bad. Let's pop that out. Now then, if we don't put anything in those ports, but still left to MP3, and we pop it back on.
Bluetooth mode.
We've got Bluetooth connectivity, so you can actually sync up your phone and play your music through this. As I say, it's got an awful lot of features that, firstly, when the first looks, I should say, I think if you saw this on the shelf in the supermarket or whatever, you'd just pass it by. really interesting. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to see what it's like on FM first of all, and then we'll try the AM and the shortwave reception. So I'm going to pop the aerial up, select it then onto FM, we'll pop it on and see what we've got to play with.
Someone who's out.
Callum Chambers and Luca Dina back from India.
Well, she doesn't deny, but he says he opened it by it.
That's pretty good actually, considering. What I'm going to do now, we're going to have a look at the performance on both the AM and the shortwave bands. Okay, so I'm actually recording this part of the video in the evening just to give this little radio the best chance of picking up the stations, especially on shortwave. I've also dropped the lighting down to a simple incandescent bulb. The reason for this is that LED bulbs tend to generate a lot of electrical noise that can be picked up on some of the shortwave bands. The camera, unfortunately, that does generate a little bit of electrical noise, but I can't do much about this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try it on the AM band, and the AM band covers 530 to 1710 kilohertz. So let's switch it on. Let's see what we've got to play with. Let's come down the dial.
चाहते हैं आप लोग अपना ख्याल रखिए, इंतजार कीजिए पूरी बिजली आदि प्रोग्राम लेकर हमारे अशोक भैया आपके
To their income, with an independent benefits calculator to see if
being a pickle. It's good to know their healthcare is covered with
I learned a lot from that experience too, you know, and leadership.
Okay, just switch that off. To be honest, that's about what I was expecting. It's not too bad. Again, you have to be a little bit careful with the tuning, just with the selectivity on this. You have to do it really nice and sort of slow. So let's try it on the shortwave and just see what we've got with that. So let's pop the aerial up. If I can get that out. There we go. Pop it up, put it onto shortwave on the side, and let's see what we've got to play with. Sounds like Radio China.
Bonsoir à tous. 晚上好，中午朝阳政治节是呀。
Just moving this dial really slowly just to try and get those stations.
How do you consider the political
Was an assets after he was declared bankrupt. And he does everything in his power to come against it.
Not too much up here. Okay, so not too much up towards the 22 sort of megahertz range, but if you go further down, we are picking up quite a few stations. Okay, so I think we can gain from that selectivity is never going to be brilliant, but sensitivity, to be honest, that's not too bad, especially on the little short aerial that we've got to sort of play with. What I'm also going to do is just test this torch as well, might as well while we're here. So I'm just going to pop that on and just switch the lighting off. Let's see what we've got. That's okay. I mean, to be honest, if you got a blackout or something or other, you needed a torch, at least you know where it is, just to get yourselves out of trouble. Let me just switch that off. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the lights back on and we can continue from there. Okay, so I've got the lights back up now, so hopefully things are a little bit more clearer for you. Overall impression is I actually like this radio. I especially like the solar cell feature. That's really neat. It does two things. One, it saves you a little bit of money having to buy batteries, but it's also good for the environment because you're not throwing away single-use batteries as well. It's just a shame that I didn't spend a little bit more time on the front design just to make it that little bit more appealing. There's one little feature that I didn't show you. On the side of the radar, there's a little LED indicator light. Now, if I just cut my hands over, hopefully you can just about see that. And what that does is indicating that the actual solar cell is charging the battery up. So even just off the light I'm utilising on this video, it's enough to actually start charging the battery up. That's a nice little neat feature as well. So overall, yeah, that's pretty decent value for $19. Anyway, appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed this, then please pop across my channel. There's plenty of other radios like this for you to review, as well as reviews on vintage radios as well from the 50s and 60s. As always, appreciate you watching, and I'll catch up with you soon.